السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ومن آياته أن خلق لكم من أنفسكم أزواجا لتسكنوا إليها وجعل بينكم مودة ورحمة إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يتفكرون. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: خيركم خيركم لأهلي وأنا خيركم لأهلي، أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم، ونحن على ما قال ربنا وخالقنا ورازقنا لمن الشاهدين والشاكرين، والحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ومولانا محمد عبدك ورسولك النبي الأمي نبي الرحمة، كما تحب وترضى عدد ما تحب وترضى، كل ما ذكره الذاكرون وكل ما غفل عن ذكره الغافلون. Respected elders, brothers, sisters, and friends, last week we began the discussion about marriage. A few weeks ago we spoke about zina. Then we spoke about marriage, the necessity of getting married, and the mindset that one needs to have when getting married. And I thought after that we would speak about talaq, especially the rulings of divorce. But the topic of marriage is something that's long, so I wanted to explore it a little bit more this week. And to understand what we're going to talk about, I'm going to give you a story. And listen to the story, because the story has a lot of lessons in there. There's many layers to this story. And what happened was there was a man. He went to Jummah, got up on Friday, wore his nice clothes. He came to Jummah. And when they come to Jummah, they should have talab in their heart. They should have this desire that I want to hear something that will affect me. They had a lot of talab. And then when the audience, when they have something in their heart, when they have this talab in their heart, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He puts things in the heart of the speaker. The speaker begins to say it. They weren't even thinking about it beforehand. So then, anyways, this man, he had this talab. He came to Jummah. He's sitting intently, hoping that the khatib is going to say something that's relevant to him. And he got what he was looking for. The khatib told him something, it affected him so much that he said, okay, I've got to do amal on this, I've got to act on this immediately. So he went home. His kids are now home from school. His wife is there in the kitchen. So he goes inside of the kitchen and he picks up his wife and starts to carry her around the house. She's so happy. She's like, so what got into you? Well, I don't know when the last time you did this, 10 years ago. He said, no, the khatib, he said something in Jummah, it really affected me. Oh, tell me more about the khutbah. I want to hear about this. You should listen to this khatib more, right? You should go to second Jummah more. So then he said that, the khatib in the talk, what he said was that whoever walks through life carrying their burdens with a smile on their face, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them Jannah. Right? It's funny, I knew when I said it, I knew people would laugh, right? But the thing is, there's a lot of lessons in the story, a lot of layers in the story that we'll get to. Just keep that in your mind for right now. Before you even get to that, you have to get married, right? And that's what we ended speaking about last week, about the importance of mindset. Now, whether, you are looking to get married at some point, or you're a parent, or you're going to tell your friends, inshallah, listen to what's being said today. This is advice. People will pay thousands of dollars for this advice. You're going to get it for free, inshallah. And if you want to get married, or if you want your children to get married, don't let them do it until they do some of the things that are discussed today. When we talk about mindset, how do we know if there's compatibility in between spouses? What happens, we have a lot of community from Hyderabad. So what they say is, they say, yeah, make dua, get married. Oh, you're engaged? Said, no, I'm going for the winter break. Something will work out, right? How much thought goes into, it's true, I hear every year, right? How much thought goes into this marriages? I don't know. You guys could tell me. But what you need to do to make sure that you and your spouses are compatible, and there's things that's going to come after, but at a base level. What is an exercise? How can you know that you and your spouse have compatibility? Is it just beauty? Is it how they appear to you? Is it based on one conversation? No, probably not. Everybody's going to put their best face on in one conversation. Everybody's going to look their best, right? In fact, somebody, they told me the other day, they're engaged, they're going to get married. He said, I think shaitan is giving me this waswasa. I said, what's this waswasa? He said that, when I got engaged to her, I thought she was beautiful. But then now I'm starting to think that there might be somebody more beautiful out there. I said, oh, that's not a waswasa, that's a fact. There's somebody more beautiful out there for sure, right? There's somebody more compatible with you out there for sure, right? But is it worth searching your whole life for that? 1% more compatibility, 1% more beautiful. And when you find that person that's more beautiful, somebody else will be attractive to you because everybody has their own charm, right? And even if they don't have their charm, Allah will make them beautiful. Shaitan will make them beautiful to you. لَأُزَيِّنَنَّ لَهُمْ Shaitan will beautify them for you. So you're always going to have this attraction. Look at these other things. What are these other things? So anybody that wants to get married, before you tell your parents that you want to get married, or as a parent, before you start looking for your child, or if your child tells you want to get married, this is what you could tell them to be serious. Get a piece of paper, not a phone. You actually need to get a paper and a pencil. It helps you think better. And write down every single thing that you want in a spouse. Tell your child, let your imagination run wild. Every single desirable aspect that you have regarding a spouse, write it down on this paper. Okay? That's step number one. Easy, right? Number two, now you've got to look at all of these disparate qualities that you have, from things from their looks to their personalities to their family to their views, all of that, and you've got to make broad categories. Make 10. 10 is a nice round number. 10 broad categories, and put each of these qualities under one of these categories. Okay? Now how many categories do you have? You went from maybe 100 different things that you desire down to what? You tell me. This is bayan, not khutbah. How many? 10, right? 10. Step number 3. Take these 10 categories and rank them in terms of importance to you. To you, the most important thing may be look. To you, it may be their deeni knowledge. To you, it may be how they are with their family. That's up to you. That's not up to me to decide for you, right? All we could guide you is, inshallah, your marriage will be positive. Rank these 1 through 10, and then after that, formulate questions. Formulate questions that will help you ascertain whether they have these qualities or not. When you go and you meet a potential spouse now, you'll know exactly what to ask to find out if they have what you're looking for. And then here's something that's a surprise, shocker to everybody. You will probably never find anybody that gets all 10 things on your list, right? So you have to rank. That's why I said rank them. If number 1, 2, 4, and 5 are there on your list, but number 3 isn't on your list, well, that's probably still a really, really good match. As opposed to if number 1, 2, 3, and 4 are not on your list, but number 6 through 10 are all there, it's probably not the best match for you. If you go through this, inshallah, it will help you figure out, is my spouse compatible with me or not? Those days are long gone where you could look at a picture of a spouse and have somebody selected for you. Because we're going to talk about that, inshallah, in the coming weeks. Divorce. That's happening. And why is it? It's because spouses don't look into one another thoroughly beforehand. Or the second thing is there's attraction beforehand. You like somebody, you're in a relationship. I met people, they were in a relationship 6, 7 years before getting married, and now after getting married, they can't stand each other. Muslim people, right? Why? Because when you don't look at mindset, when you're just caught up in hormones and emotions and all of that, you're going to overlook every negative quality in this person. حُبُّكَ الشَّيْء يُعْمِي وَيُصِمْ Rasulullah said. Your love for a thing makes you deaf and blind, right? But that love kind of fades over time. And what remains after that is the person themselves. The person themselves. And if you didn't look into that beforehand, you're setting yourself up for disaster. You might like somebody, but then find out what their mindset is too. Somebody may be attractive, but I said there are a lot of attractive people out there, right? Find out their mindset through this method that's mentioned. After, now, you did all of this, we did your nikah over here, now you're married, now we come back to our story. The man picked up his wife at the beginning, and what did he say? That the khatib said, whoever walks through life with their burdens, carries their burdens with a smile, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them Jannah. And now that probably changed the whole mood, but I said that there's layers here. What are the layers? Number one, a lot of times between spouses, even if they liked one another beforehand, there's some underlying antagonism between the two. That's why when I said that at the beginning, I knew everybody would laugh, because if you ever want to laugh, make a joke about a wife, everybody will laugh. For sisters, make a joke about a husband, everybody will laugh. Because it's a joke, but there's something there. There's a little bit of antagonism that's there. Number two, spouses are viewed, and sometimes by extension children, are viewed as an impediment from doing what you want to do. That's why he said burden in life. It's my spouse that's stopping me from living up to my potential, from pursuing my career. It's my children that are keeping me from, practicing whatever degree I earned, right? These thoughts happen. We view our spouses as an impediment. In reality, this is the biggest mistake one can make. A person can become the most successful doctor to the extent that, you make a vaccine and you save 1 million lives. You can win the Nobel Peace Prize. You can win the Heisman Trophy. You could win whatever you want. None of that is a guarantee that you are the best of people. But Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he gave a guarantee that will make you the best of people. خَيْرُكُمْ خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَهْلِ. The best of you is the one who's the best to their family. If your spouse is your road to becoming the best of all Muslims, because Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said the best amongst you is the one who's the best to their family. And if you have no spouse, you have no family, right? If you have no children, you have no family. خَيْرُكُمْ خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَهْلِ. And then Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, وَأَنَا خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَهْلِي. And out of all of you, I am the best to my wives, right? To my family. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said this. That's the second layer that's over here. The third layer is that look at how happy the wife was initially when her husband picked her up. It shows that in relationships over time, when that initial honeymoon phase, when it comes to an end, you come to a standstill. And it's like two people that are having a showdown. Both people are waiting to see something from the other. Somebody take a step. Show me that you care. Show me something. But what happens is years and years and years, they go by and nobody shows that step. And then you have loveless marriages. Then you have this antagonism. Then you have this hate. Then you have the breakup for a marriage because nobody took that step. That's what we see over here. Divorce, 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 divorce. Like I have this scheduler, so I could tell you every single meeting I've had in the last year, like hundreds, right? I can tell you exactly what's the topic, who it is. So many of them. Marital problems, divorce, divorce, I said this, I did that. It's Muslim community. Why? Because we're not taking the steps that are needed to maintain our marriages. So what are some things from the sunnah that we could use to maintain our marriages? I'll end with this. There's 5 things. We could find all of these in the sunnah, but they've been categorized by a non-Muslim. He wrote a really nice book called The 5 Love Languages. Anybody that gets married, I recommend them to read it. Like, wow, but just read Quran and Sunnah. Well, yeah, the Quran, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam lived the Quran and Sunnah. He did things organically, such that he didn't have to list everything out. He just did it. And the Sahaba radiallahu anh, they were smart. The Sahaba radiallahu anh, all they had to do was watch and observe. They didn't have to somebody take them by the hand and walk them through everything. We're not like that. We don't have the same intelligence as the Sahaba radiallahu anh. So, if somebody extracts things from the sunnah and they put it for us in an easily digestible manner, whether they're Muslim or non-Muslim, we could benefit from it. So 5 things, inshallah, that you could do for your spouse, 5 love languages. You see, each person, they perceive love in a certain way. And usually the things that happen to you that make you feel loved, you show that to somebody else, right? You display your love to somebody else in this manner. But if they don't perceive love the way that you perceive love, that they feel like my spouse isn't doing anything from me. So there's 5 things, and you have to find out how your spouse is. So number 1, the first love language is physical touch. Right? Some people, they react to that, like the wife in our story. She was so happy that her husband picked her up. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, sometimes before leaving for salah, he would give his wife a kiss. Whichever wife, he would give his wife a kiss before going out to salah. Right? This is a way of showing love. Some people, for them, you don't need to say anything, you don't need to give them anything, just touch them. And that shows that you're loved. But not everybody is like that. Somebody else you touch, they're like, what are you doing? Number 2, quality time. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the most busy person in human history. Yet every day after Asr, he used to visit each of his wife and spend some time with them. That's on a daily basis. Then there were one-off things. Like for example, once Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sitting outside with Aisha radiallahu anha looking at the stars. Famous incident. One time he went on a journey with the Sahaba and one of his wives was with him. And then he told the Sahaba, keep going, I'll come in a little while. Then he told his wife, I'll race. I'll race with you. And that wife won the race, the first race. And then years later, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam challenged her again and won. And he said that this is revenge for the last time, right? Quality time, this is important. Now we give our phones quality time. We give our parents quality time, our siblings quality time, our friends quality time, but not our spouses. Why? Spouses are an impediment to what we want to do. That's the mentality. Number 3, words of affirmation. Some people, you don't need to give them anything, you don't need to touch them, you don't need to spend time with them, you need to praise them to show that they're appreciated. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam displayed this in that he would always praise Khadija radiallahu anha years after she passed away. He would always praise Khadija radiallahu anha. He would do this with other Sahaba as well. It's up to us to figure out our spouse's mentality. And these languages, they could translate to our children as well, right? You'll see them. Notice, think about your children. Each of them is different probably. The next one is gift giving. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, tahaddu tahabbu. Give gifts, love will increase. This is so easy. You don't have to give a diamond ring. On the way home, stop at the store, get some flowers, take it home. I guarantee you if you do that, your spouse will be so shocked. So what is this for? It's not, I just wanted to do it for you. I love you, right? Get some candy. I know that you like this candy, so I got it for you. Some people, they really, this makes them feel loved. Small gifts here and there. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, give gifts, love increases. And the last thing is acts of service. Acts of service. Doing something for them. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam or his wives were asked, how was Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? They say he was a regular man. He was like us. He used to relax at home. He used to help us out with the housework at home. Sometimes he would sew his own clothing. He would eat with us, talk with us. He's regular. Similarly, some people, what they appreciate, it's not doing things for them. It's not getting them things. It's not spending time with them. It's not praising them. It's not touching them. It's doing something for them. Right? Doing something without being told. Clean the kitchen. Your spouse comes home. So what happened? Yeah, I just cleaned the kitchen for you. Right? Without being told, if you do an act of service for some people, that means the world. So what were those 5 things? Physical touch. Number 2, quality time. Number 3, words of affirmation. Number 4, gift giving. And number 5, acts of service. So what's the action item today? If you're not married, make that map of how you of ascertaining potential spouse's desirable qualities and mindset. And if you are married, your job is figure out your spouse's love language. I can tell you easy, you could experiment, that's one way. Also, if you just go online and you put 5 love languages quiz, there's like 20, 30 questions, and then they'll tell you, like what you are. So you could tell your spouse, let's take this together, right? Or you could experiment with it. At the end of the day, what do we want? We want happy marriages. When there's happy marriages, couples stay together. When couples stay together, families stay on Sirat-e Mustaqim. When families are on Sirat-e Mustaqim, communities are built. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all tawfiq. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all love in our marriages. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make each and every one of us the best of people to our families. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
الله أكبر الله
الحمد لله الأكرم الذي خلق الإنسان وكرم وعلمه من البيان ما لم يعلم، فسبحان الذي لا يحسن امتنانه باللسان ولا بالقلم. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله، صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه نجوم الطريق الأمم. أما بعد، فإن علم الشرائع والأحكام هو أعظم فرائض الإسلام، ومن ثم أمر به وحض عليه تعليما وتعلما. فقد قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: بلغوا عني ولو آية. وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام: من يرد الله به خيرا يفقهه في الدين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. أمن هو قانت آناء الليل ساجدا وقائما يحذر الآخرة ويرجو رحمة ربه. قل هل يستوي الذين يعلمون والذين لا يعلمون، إنما يتذكر أولو الألباب. بارك الله لنا ولكم في القرآن العظيم، ونفعنا وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم. إنه تعالى جواد كريم ملك بر رؤوف رحيم. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه، ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له، ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله، صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي، يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا ومولانا محمد بعدد من صلى وصام. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا ومولانا محمد بعدد من قعد وقام. وصلى الله تعالى على جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين والملائكة المقربين والخلفاء الراشدين، وعلى الستة الباقية من العشرة المبشرة، وسائر المهاجرين والأنصار والتابعين الأبرار الأخيار إلى يوم القرار، رضوان الله تعالى عليهم أجمعين. اللهم اغفر لنا وللمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات، إنك سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا، وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين في كل مكان. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. عباد الله رحمكم الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى، وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي، يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله يذكركم ودعوه يستجب لكم، ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا